Hi guys, welcome to your weekly dose of inspiration to live healthy and happy. So for me to be healthy, obviously there's a big part of that that's all about healthy eating, and it has been a journey for me. I would say it was after my teenage years that I started eating better, but it really was a journey. It's not something that happened overnight. The changes I made from a really poor diet to something that was slightly better, and then better than that, and then quite improved. It was over years and years and years. So I have to say that I'm not a nutritionist. However, I would say I'm an expert based on my own personal experience. And once again, you always have to find what works for you, but I wanted to share what works for me and how I really stay on track on a daily basis with my healthy eating habits. It's not about perfection. It is about, I would say, 98% of the time eating well and then treating yourself to a nice poutine or something like that on, I don't like to even call them cheat days, but let's call it that. So the first tip is drink lots of water. And I know I'm probably starting with the most boring tip ever, but seriously, our body is made of, I don't know what the percentage is, a lot of water, okay? That is part of who we are, and when we lack that in our system, so many things can go wrong. And it's funny because I know quite a lot of people in my life that do not drink enough water, by any means, and some of them are, let's say, around my age, so they haven't had health repercussions, but I know a few that have had repercussions that have ended up in the hospital. I know that sounds really dramatic, and it's probably a combination of different life choices, but still, drinking water is a key thing to being healthy. And for me, healthy eating and drinking lots of water, I think it's about 2 liters a day that they recommend, or 8 to 9 glasses, something like that. Is really important. And it's funny, it's not just about your health, but for me, drinking water actually has a few other positive repercussions that actually help me to stay on that healthy eating track. And one of them is when you're thirsty, sometimes your brain gets those signals confused, and you'll start to think that you're hungry. And in fact, you're not hungry, you're thirsty. So if you stay hydrated, you won't get those mixed messages. It's much more likely that if your body is telling you you're hungry, you're actually hungry. It also has obviously repercussions on your skin. If you're dehydrated, it shows. It's not just something that's internal. You can tell when somebody eats poorly or doesn't drink enough water. You can tell it in their skin. They might have, bad skin. They might have just really kind of dehydrated skin. However you treat yourself and what's going on internally, it really is reflected externally. So make sure you drink that water. There are so many tricks to make sure that you drink enough water in the day. 2 of my favorites is use a cute glass or a cute mug or a cute, I have this drop bottle that I talked about in another one of my videos. I'll link it below, and it's just something that's visually nice, that it helps me feel motivated and inspired, and I have it with me. I remember to carry it with me, and it just reminds me to drink and to fill it up when it's empty. The other trick is you might want to mix things up a little bit, and instead of just doing water, you can add lemon, you can add basil and cucumber, you can add little frozen fruits. That's why I like the drop bottle. Is actually, there's a little filter on top, so you take the filter off, you put whatever you want to put in there to infuse your water, and then you put that little filter on, so that when you're drinking it, you're not just guzzling down pieces of cucumber, basil, and all that. So that is one of my favorite kind of drinking devices, if you will. So drink your water. So important to hydrate. You'll make better choices if you have a full stomach. Even if you go to a party or something like that, you may nibble less if you have a bit, if your stomach feels a bit full. If you drink alcohol, you won't feel as crappy the next day if you're fully hydrated. So there are just so many benefits. So just suck it up and make sure that you drink the amount of water that your body needs in a day, and just make it a habit. Whatever, 15, 20 years ago, it wasn't a habit for me, but I made it a habit. For me, it was really important to be healthy, to drink water. So jot that down. So I don't know if you're more a salty, savory person or a sweet person. I would say, unfortunately, I'm both. So I love little salty treats like chips, like poutine, like pretzels and popcorn, but I really like sweets too. I can't say that I know some people that crave sweets on a daily basis. For me, it's more, sometimes it's emotional eating or hormonal, or after like a meal, I feel like, at the restaurant, sometimes more I feel like a treat. So I really don't believe in depriving yourself, and I do believe in substituting. So what I do is sometimes I totally treat myself to like a cookie or a piece of cake or something, or on the salty, like I'll go for the poutine. But you don't always want to do that, right? You want most of your meals and your snacks to be healthy. So if I really am craving something, sometimes it's like around 3 o'clock or something like that, where you're either, I can't say it's because I'm bored, because things are very busy right now, but sometimes it's just, or you're stressed, or it's just like, I don't know, the brain at some point maybe wants a bit of a break. It's like, oh, maybe I could have a little snack of some kind. So what I do is I like to substitute, and I will link a very old video below. I think it's one of the first videos I did, and it's one of my kind of favorite little easy treats that I find is satisfying, but it's actually nourishing and it's actually healthy for you. So I'll leave it below, and I'm warning you, I had red hair, so it's a bit of an old one. It's part of the Red Fairy archives. So I've just jotted down a few notes here because I wanted to remember some of the treats. So one of my favorite ones right now is actually taking, if I'm craving something sweet, I like to take a date. Ideally, you can take the dates that don't have don't have the pits. But recently, I bought a whole bag and I didn't realize it had the pits, and it's fine. You just like take a sharp knife, do a little slit in the date, and then just pull out the pit. Then the magical moment is you take some almond butter, whatever kind of nut butter that you like. Please don't take like Kraft peanut butter, because that's like crap. So take like natural peanut butter, almond butter. There's all sorts of different like amazing nut butters. And then just take either a spoon or a knife, and then just put the almond butter in the date, and then like kind of close the date up, but it'll kind of like pour out. It's a bit of a messy treat, and I've shared it actually on Instagram not that long ago in an Insta story. It doesn't look super appealing, but it is so good because you have the sweetness, the natural, non-refined sugar of the date, and then you have that rich texture from the almond butter or the nut butter. But on top of that, like, it's good for you, it's good protein, so you're likely to feel fuller longer. Don't eat like 5 or 10 of them. I usually eat one and I'm satisfied. So maybe like 1 or 2, but just remember, like, dates are very sweet, and so you don't want your blood sugar to peak. On the salty side, there's a lot of different things you can do. Recently, what I've really enjoyed doing is I will take rice cakes, and I will take like hummus, or right now I'm really liking this tofu spread, and I know that sounds so granola and gross, but it's really good. I'll try to find a picture of it. And okay, so I'm in Quebec here. I don't know if that's available everywhere, but it's really good. And once again, it's like a nice texture, so it doesn't feel like I'm depriving myself. And I think that's really a trick to stay on that healthy eating track. Like, I don't believe in dieting. I don't believe in depriving yourself. So if you do feel like you're eating something enjoyable, but it's healthy and it's good, it's nourishing, then you don't feel frustrated and you don't feel deprived. So you're much more likely to stay on track and be consistent with those healthy eating habits. So find little treats like that that are satisfying for you. Sometimes I would just take an apple and I would just put like a little bit of salt on pieces of apple, and that would satisfy. Like, it's a bit of sweet and it's a bit of salty, it's crunchy, like if I was craving maybe like chips or something like that, and it would curb the craving right then and there. So there's a lot of different options that you have that are better choices than going for the bag of chips or going for the chocolate bar. So my third tip is to exercise, and this isn't a trick. They're so closely like intertwined. I find that when I exercise, I am so much more motivated and disciplined in healthy eating because I feel good. I feel like sometimes we make bad food choices when we're feeling kind of crappy, and it's like we're eating our emotions and we want like comfort, and we're compensating for something. So when you exercise in general, your mood will be better, so you're less likely to go towards unhealthy choices. Also, when you work out and you've taken the time to, let's say, get up early, you made that effort to work out, you kind of don't want to cancel out that effort by stuffing your face in something unhealthy. Now that said, I will have to say that the fact, like I usually exercise about 6 to 7 days a week, that does allow you a little more leeway in having those little like naughty treats from time to time. So that's another advantage, I guess, to exercising. But on the other side, it really does make you want to be more disciplined. And when you make one healthy choice, it just makes you more kind of inspired and more likely to make other healthy choices. So, and then, well, the opposite is kind of true too. So I find that exercise first thing in the day, it kind of sets the tone for the day. And then I've done something good for my body and I kind of want to keep that going for the rest of the day. I'm sure you've heard this before, but don't skip meals. I don't know how people do that. I'm basically always hungry. So for me, skipping a meal isn't an option. Like I wake up in the morning and I'm starving. I have a really good breakfast and about an hour and a half later, I'm still hungry. So I have my 3 meals a day and I snack in between. And that's apparently a good thing, is to have smaller meals and then healthy snacks in between so that your body is kind of constantly nourished. I don't snack in the evening. Usually after 5 o'clock, like I've had a good supper, I don't really feel like snacking in the evening. So I know that some people find it really difficult to have breakfast in the morning. Try different tricks. Seriously, like starting your day in starvation mode is not kind of setting yourself up for success. Have something small, like it could be maybe a smoothie. Like for me, that's usually what I go for in the morning. It's a smoothie. For me, it's like a really complete meal. I feel nourished. I get my greens in, because sometimes I struggle integrating greens in like a regular meal. So I toss a ton of like organic baby spinach in there. And once again, some people, I've seen that before, like, oh, well, I'm going to the movies and I'm going to have popcorn, so I won't have supper. Or, oh, I'm going to go like get a donut, so I won't have lunch. Like, no, it's not good. So have a proper meal, like make sure that you're giving your body all that it needs. And if you do want to go for that treat, well, that'll be your treat for the day or for the week, whatever. Like, one doesn't replace the other. Like you're skipping a proper meal and having a donut or something like that, like it's not like, they're not equal choices, let's say. So have your meals, and also if you skip a meal, you're much more likely to get hangry and then to stuff your face. So really, really, as much as you can, as busy as you are, don't skip a meal. Try to carry snacks with you so that if you're not able to get to like, I don't know, a restaurant to get something or takeout or whatever it is, at least like have like maybe an apple in your bag and some almonds or something to just keep you going until you can make a proper meal choice. Because I did notice also that if I get really, really hungry, that's often when I make kind of bad choices. So I try to never get into like starvation mode. So get your inspiration on when it comes to meal planning. That is so, so key. And I know that's something that a lot of us struggle with. And I mean, it happens to the best of us when life just gets crazy and we're like zero inspired and we don't know what to do. And yet, you know, there's a ton of recipe books out there and you know, cooking websites and all that. But sometimes it's just, even sometimes a choice, like too much choice is like not enough and it's overwhelming and we don't know what to do. So get your inspiration on. Eating, a big part of like the pleasure in eating is the visual pleasure, right? Eating beautiful food. So what I like to do is I scroll on Instagram, I go on Pinterest, and I take screenshots with my phone of meals that seem really delicious, and I make sure that I know like where that photo is from. And then when I have to decide, let's say on a Sunday, if I want to prepare like one or two meals for the week and make sure that I have like enough quantities for a couple of meals and all that, I can just refer to those photos or to that actual recipe that I've screenshotted or that I've pinned on Pinterest or whatever, email to myself, whatever it is, whatever works for you. And then I have like, it's like a bank of recipes that I can just go to when I'm really like lacking inspiration and imagination. But having that visual component really helps, I find, like get inspired and like get some ideas, like what could I whip up this week in the kitchen? And it's really like a fun creative process if you plan it properly. And it really is all about being organized. And I also wrote a post on that, which I will link below, that's called how to plan your meals for the week. And it's really kind of an art, if you will. And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I go off track and then I make the same thing 5 days in a row. There's this one like pasta tomato salad that I make all the time when I don't know what to do, but it's a healthy choice anyway. So planning and being organized is definitely key, and getting inspired, because preparing a meal for yourself and then eating it, it can be a really, really beautiful experience. And my last tip would actually kind of just regroups everything that we just talked about, all the different tips and tricks that you're going to use, is don't set the bar too high for yourself. So for sure, aim to eat healthy. Let's say 7 days a week, most of your meals are healthy, maybe one you'll have a little pig out. Like last night I had some pizza and wine, it was very good. But really, really be kind with yourself. If you fall off the wagon, if you make, maybe it's just like one bad food choice, or maybe it's during a week you were busy, you were stressed, and you just ate crap all week, be kind with yourself. Because for me, self-esteem, self-love, and how you treat yourself is quite tightly linked to how you eat. Like how you treat yourself mentally is not going to be, there's not going to be a complete disconnected between that and then how you treat your body physically, right? So whether you choose to exercise or whether you choose to eat well. So if you're making self-love as a choice, you're going to make that in different ways throughout your day. So if you do fall off track, be kind with yourself. Don't say, like I have no discipline, I always make bad food choices, that's just like how I am by default. Don't tell that story to yourself. Just kind of say, okay, you know what? I made a bad choice. Or it might have just been a conscious, like for me, if I have a poutine, like I have a poutine and I'm like, I'm treating myself to a poutine. So, and I don't want the regret or the guilt to go with that. I'm going to fully enjoy it. And then, all the rest of my meals are really healthy. So I really want to enjoy it. But sometimes we do, if we get hungry or hangry or we're stressed or we eat our emotions, sometimes we do make a choice that we regret. So, and it's normal, we're human, we're not perfect. So when that does happen, just like be kind with yourself and just say, okay, from now on, I'm making a choice to get back on track and I will do my very best. And that's what really, really matters. Just say on a daily basis, I'm going to do my very best. I'm going to show up for myself today and I'm going to make the best choices that I can from a food point of view, from a thought point of view as well. And because harsh thoughts will only make you feel crappy, which will then probably make you want to eat crappy food, which then will make you feel crappy again. So it's just like this vicious negative cycle that you really don't want to fall into. So forgive yourself, press the reset button, and then say, okay, tomorrow's another day. Or this afternoon, this afternoon is a fresh start and I will eat a healthy snack and then I'll eat a healthy supper. So just be really kind with yourself. You're doing all these amazing things for your body. Make sure that you're really kind to your soul as well. And I know that's kind of ending on a cheesy note, but I can't help it. So I hope these tips were helpful. If you have other tips, feel free to share them below. The more tips, the more suggestions, the merrier. Those are just a few that have worked for me and I incorporate on a daily basis. But you really want to have like a healthy arsenal of tools to help you make those choices on a daily basis. And you'll see with time, as I said, for me, it was really a journey. With time, it'll become less of an effort and more of just like an automatic reflex. But give yourself time to do that, and always, always, always celebrate those little victories. When you finish today and you're doing your gratitude practice, make sure that you take a moment to really acknowledge the efforts that you made and the good choices that you made throughout your day. So I hope this was helpful. I wish you a healthy and happy week, and I will see you very soon. Love you guys. Bye.